right in front, like
Ready?
in front of your mic, though.
Let's crack one open.
It's a cool refresher, right? We got to start this. You all are going to be able to hear this. Let's go. Let's go, Andrew Mason.
Let's do a live show. Live from Lewisburg, West Virginia. Yeah, we're not out at the practice venue. We were out earlier today.
Yes.
But the weather is less than clement. You know, you hear inclement weather, but you never hear clement weather.
Yes. Why is that?
It's a good question. Anyway, the weather is not clement.
Yeah,
so we're inside.
Like an atmosphere shot for this show, and then we're like, let's just do it back at the hotel lobby. So we crack open a couple of sodas. You can hold 6 packs of soda. La la la, Luke.
What gives you a buzz?
Luke. Hey, orange blue today. Cecil, lammey, Andrew Mason. How does Bo Nix look better this week? Like raising expectations, raising the bar. I urge everyone to watch J.T. O'Sullivan in the quarterback school and how he was breaking down. He's not a Sean Payton buddy like Chase Daniel, so you get perhaps a more honest opinion.
Not a Sean Payton hater like Kurt Bankert.
Right. So a more honest opinion from JT. Really praising Bo for that game against Tampa. Mason, we need to see more, you know, and there will be steps to this, maybe steps forward. You know, Paul Abdul, take 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. But we come together because opposites attract. And you know, it ain't fiction, just a matter of fact. The Bo Nix needs to continue to show these strides and show improvement.
For those who are still with us after that detour.
The detours are at the end usually.
Yeah, into Paula Abdul. One thing that is obviously in play here for the Broncos is going against a Jets passing defense that's going to ask some difficult questions so far this year. And also, the Broncos still have 0 passing touchdowns. The Jets have only allowed 1 passing touchdown. The question is, when is Bo Nix going to get his first touchdown pass? Hey, you'd love it to be this week. It's going to come at some point. But on paper, this appears to be a significantly sterner challenge for Bo Nix, at least in the aerial aspect of being a quarterback. I think he's going to be able to do some things with his legs. And that's one of the things I think as we watch this year, unless Bo Nix is playing injured, you're always going to see something that is a reliable part of his game be what he can do with his legs.
Yes.
That will help him out. I've talked about this. It helps the transition while a young quarterback learns how to navigate the NFL, learns how to read defenses. If he has the ability to discombobulate with his legs, it means that they've got to sacrifice something in coverage. It'll open some things up. So, you know, I hope Bo Nix's first NFL regular season touchdown pass comes in this game. But this is going to be tough sledding against this Jets defense, especially because they don't have to sacrifice coverage to get pressure. They are very successful at getting pressure with 4.
Yes, 4 up front. Going to be tough on that offensive line. We'll get to some Quinn Miners talk a little bit later. But if you look at the running game, you wanted to start here, or you wanted to bring this up, because we're going to talk about Bo Nix on today's program. But it starts with that ground game. Joe Lombardi had an answer. We have to set this up. You didn't really like his answer today.
There's a part of the answer I don't like.
Okay. Do you want to set it up before I play the clip?
Well, he was asked by our friend Chris Thomason of the Denver Gazette about the running game, and specifically Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. They're both averaging 2.2 yards per carry right now, by the way. And was asked about getting them more involved. It's a long answer, but there's one part that really just it was a little bit frustrating to hear. And we'll play the whole comment. We like to play the long comments
full context
to give you full context of what's being said. I think that's important. That's one of the things we don't have a time limit on this show, except we just have to make sure we always get to 8 minutes for the YouTube algorithm.
Thank you, YouTube overlords.
So beyond that, we could, if we want to do a 4-hour show, we could. Be a little bit of a problem with the other responsibilities we have, but we could. So we're gonna play the full comment from Joe Lombardi and then dive into this a little bit, because there's something he said that analytically concerns me.
I don't know if there's a specific step you have to take. I mean, we obviously Tyler got in there and had the big run, and he's a guy that we really like. But the run game's one of those things where not every run's going to be a 20-yard gain, and you stick with it. I think you know the players that you have. You know that just because the stats are telling you that they're not gaining a bunch of yards doesn't mean that they've all of a sudden turned to crap. So you just keep handing them the ball and know that we'll keep getting better, and the plan will keep getting better, and we'll keep blocking better, and their big runs are coming. So it's just like anything. It's tempting when you've run the ball a few times early and you're not gaining yards, just say, well, the heck with this, we're going to just start throwing. And the run game is one of those things that if you stick with it, you're going to start busting some runs. And so it's just a patience thing, and obviously just getting better when we do run it.
Now, when he talks about sticking with it, I think he's referring to in the course of a game. And that's something I agree with.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to sometimes jab before you can land a punch that really has an effect. But when he says of the stats, just because the stats are telling you they're not gaining a bunch of yards doesn't mean they've all of a sudden turned to crap. Okay, let's just talk about Javonte Williams. And I wouldn't put it in the turn to crap terms. But with Javonte Williams now sitting here 3 weeks into this season and then going back to last season, he's at 13 straight games when he has not averaged 4 yards a carry.
Yes.
And in other words, we have a sample size here that is broad enough to be able to say, at this point, unfortunately, this is who he is as a runner.
Yes.
And it's why I want to see more of Tyler Bidet.
Right.
Tyler Bidet.
Mm-hmm.
We're all getting used. I want to see more of Tyler Bidet.
He's earned that right.
Right now, if this is, there's the old cliche of the NFL's a meritocracy, yada, yada, yada. Well, it isn't necessarily a meritocracy. We like to think it is, but it's not.
Right.
But there are things that you can control, and one of them is playing time and making sure that the best players are getting playing time. Respectfully to Javonte Williams, he's not the best option at running back from what we're seeing. When you see Tyler Bidet out there, you see a guy who's reading the holes well, who's quick, decisive.
Right.
There's no dancing involved, and he's getting the right spot. So he's got the right mix of vision and burst. I think you keep turning the page with Tyler Bidet and you see what he has.
Yes, and Quinn Miners even said that today when we talked to him. We're not going to play that clip, but he said, he makes a decision and he goes. He goes for it.
That was telling.
That's important, and it's making the line look better, and run blocking is not a problem for them. Pass blocking, there are some things, but run blocking, not a problem for this unit. Quinn Miners playing better. Palcho playing outstanding football at right tackle. They can run the ball, and it looks better with Bidet. And whereas Jaleel McLaughlin, in my opinion, Mace, his role stays the same. He needs to be limited in what he does, and there's certain ways you have to use him. With Bidet, I'm comfortable giving him a toss play. I'm comfortable shoving him between the tackles. I think he can do many things as a runner.
Are you comfortable with him in pass pro?
Unknown. And we just don't know yet.
We don't know.
There's not enough film on him to say he's good at pass pro. I didn't see in backs on backers, if I go back to training camp.
I didn't see anything
I
that
don't
raised any
remember.
alarm bells.
Right. There's no red flags there, but live, plays are much different than a drill of backs on backers.
Good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living, that's something else. But
Roger,
maybe you
Roger.
have to take that chance.
You're the one that started that, not me.
From Phantom Roger.
Roger.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of Star Wars nerds sitting here. Just don't forget that. But, yep. I think it's a chance that you have to be willing to take to get that explosiveness. And, like I said when I was on the radio not too long ago, maybe the role for Javonte Williams is pass catching back on third down. You've said it. Maybe he's your Samaje Perine now.
What does that mean for Jaleel then?
Does Jaleel have the same role that he had last year?
Yes.
Which is the 10 to 12 snaps a game, joker, change of pace, and Tyler Bidet becomes your RB1. If it were up to Coach Mace, that's how I'd attack this week.
Well, Coach Payton's probably going to do three-headed committee. It's probably going to be, and this is me guessing, Javonte starts, Bidet gets most of the carries, Jaleel's role is the same. I think that's a pretty good guess.
Is that what you want? Is that the best?
No,
thing?
I want Bidet to get the start. I want Bidet to get 15-plus carries. And let's go, Broncos. That's what helps out Bo.
Pardon me. And the thing that's interesting there as well is for Tyler Bidet, you want to find out what he possesses.
Yes.
In a couple of weeks, you could have Audric Estime back in the mix. I would like to give Tyler Bidet an earnest look to see what he has. We've seen, again, it's a results-based business. It's a production-based business. In this results-based business, Javonte Williams has not averaged even 4 yards a carry. He hasn't hit that kind of mid-level threshold since week 7 of last year.
And that was the only game he had, by the way, of last year at 4 yards a carry.
And the worst thing is the trend has been down.
Oh, yeah, to get to 3 yards a carry would be nice this year.
And Jaleel McLaughlin, he hasn't been able to make it happen either. Now this year, is the offensive line, is the blocking culpable in that? Yes. I mean, depending on which one you look at, the Broncos could rank considerably higher in ESPN analytics run block win rate compared to Pro Football Focus, which has the Broncos dead last in run blocking. But either let's say you put the two together just to split the difference, it's below average. Quinn Miners will tell you his first 2 games were awful. He discussed that again today.
Yes. He's very hard on himself earlier this year.
Well, he's very hard on himself, but the thing is, the numbers bore that out in Seattle in pass pro. He had his worst pass pro game as a pro. There's data for that. It's not just a feeling thing, right? I mean, I feel like
we're all up in our feelings today.
Sometimes you feel like you played worse than you actually did. Well, with Quinn Miners, he said he had a bad game in Seattle, and the data confirmed. Yes. You had a bad game.
Worst game of his pro career.
Which I think and you can see the burden of leadership is something that he's getting accustomed to. I feel like he's getting more comfortable with it. I would say we got that indication today.
Sure.
Speaking with him. So that's a good sign going forward. And I think that's I think the challenge for him is actually more mental than physical.
Yes.
I think physically he's going to be fine. Mentally, it is the burden of leadership. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Well, Quinn Miners, between the contract and the C patch on his jersey, is wearing a crown in some respects. It's one of the reasons why when they pulled only a couple of players to talk today, because it's not a normal week in terms of player access, he was one of them.
Yep. He's one of the good ones. We are getting some mispronunciations of Bidet's last name for the last time, and we talked to Tyler Bidet.
Do we have that clip?
Yes, we do.
Play the clip.
So for anyone that's out there, because we have the chat room firing up, is like, it's Beatty. He said it.
Why don't we just play the clip every show until everyone gets it? So so this is today's version of playing the Tyler Bidet clip talking about the pronunciation of his surname.
Although we know what the first question is, pronounce your last name.
Bidet. Bidet. Let's get it out of the way.
You let us go a long time before you told us.
I did. There was some other things going on, but It's Bidet. I'll
Did
clarify
somebody
that for
finally
y'all.
say, will you please tell them?
Right.
Is that how it was pronounced growing up with your family?
No, actually not. I actually changed it myself, but
Oh, okay.
some other things going on, some family things that I'll talk about later on. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on football right now.
Focus on football right now.
Yeah.
Let's focus on Tyler Bidet and what he can do for this team because he can really help Bo Nix look better.
Unfortunately, it's still a thing on social media. People are hearing how he's saying his name, and they're choosing to intentionally mispronounce it. I mean, unintentional, if you correct yourself, is
Sure,
fine.
right. We
Again,
still
we're
do that
we're
once
all
in a while.
adjusting to it. You'll probably hear a broadcaster, just adjusting to it as well. It's okay. Like if you have the quick correction, just intentionally mispronouncing it, that's just being a jerk.
It's being mean-spirited.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that on this show. Frosty and Saucy. So am I Frosty and you're Saucy?
Definitely. Yeah, you're I'm saucy.
Okay, I like that. Sharon says she could go for a 4-hour show. We could. Lots of stuff here in West Virginia to do with this Broncos team. But let's talk about interior pressure because you mentioned in the beginning of the show the Jets get pressure with 4. A lot of it is interior pressure. It's something Joe Lombardi talked about today. You want to set it up or you want me to just play the clip?
Let's just play the clip and dive into it. But I mean, we'll start. All you have to do is start with Quinn Williams and know what kind of force he is. And this is a player who's, I will say the numbers, at least so far this year, 5 QB hits, 1 sack, does not reflect the pressure that he generates. He's right there with Zach Allen among the NFL leaders in pressure rate from interior defensive linemen. You've seen the games. You see how effective Zach Allen is. Well, Quinn Williams has been that for years. And that's the challenge you've got. He's proven successful. He's a beast. You're going to have 2 guys on the interior devoted to him. And how's Bo Nix going to handle that behind the Broncos offensive line?
However long you've been in the league, if you feel comfortable in the pocket and, you're able to allow the routes to express themselves, to develop, and get the proper reads, it helps everything. When the defensive line tells you it's time to throw the football, you got to throw the football or take a sack or move. And if they do that before the routes have developed, makes things more difficult. So, interior pressure is always a problem for anyone. Obviously, we got good, stout guards, and they're going to have to play well.
Good, stout guards, they're going to have to play well. Quinn Miners is going to have a good game. He had 1 last Sunday.
Ben Powers needs to play better.
Ben Powers has got to play up to his contract a little bit.
Yeah. It's something we could have said for multiple games. He has had some games here and there. But if we were to rank all the 5 offensive linemen, 4 probably.
Are you putting Wattenberg 5?
Wattenberg's at 5. He's learning. It's going to take some time. There's nothing wrong with Luke Wattenberg. It's just he's young. He's inexperienced.
Sometimes I think to myself, remember, it really took Cush 3 years.
And I'll go before to Matt Paradis. Matt Paradis wasn't the player we all loved and appreciated when he first started playing.
He had a big help with Peyton Manning, though.
Yes.
Taking snaps.
This is rookie, essentially.
Yeah. And it's kind of where you were in 2020 when you had rookie Lloyd Cushenberry, second-year quarterback Drew Locke, who only had 5 snaps under his belt. I know it's something you and I discussed last year and early this offseason when we talked about, hey, do you maybe need to bring Cush back? We all knew the writing on the wall with Cush. And it wasn't that the Broncos didn't want him. Make no mistake, Cushenberry is here because you have more dead money under your cap than any other team in football.
Right.
That's the reason.
Yep.
You cut Russell Wilson. You made a bad contract with Russell Wilson. You cut Russell Wilson. You had that crater in the salary cap. If you didn't have that, Lloyd Cushenberry's still on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to make some difficult choices, and it's part of I think it's important to note we're not making excuses here. We believe in reasons, not excuses. A reason why you've got Luke Wattenberg starting is because of the dead money figure. It's one of the spots where you're fighting uphill. Now, I would say at safety, Brandon Jones so far this year has looked very good. And PJ Locke, we learned this last year with him when he came in for Kareem Jackson. It's not too big for him.
Right.
So you're doing fine at safety.
Yeah.
You've
Just got to stay healthy.
You've overcome the loss of Justin Simmons. Your depth is something you're still concerned about, but you're doing fine at safety. But I would say on the roster, there's no one position more affected by the dead money figure right now than center. That's something you're going to have to live with, and you're just going to have to hope that Luke Wattenberg can get better as the season goes on. They do believe in him. One thing that Zach Strief told me back in June is that wherever Cush was, Luke was right there last year, trying to soak in everything he could that Cush was learning. Asking him questions constantly. By the way, speaking of asking questions, didn't you love what Quinn Miners said about Alex Palczewski?
Yes.
Asking questions like in meetings.
Right.
And the praise for Palcho this week has been universal, coming off of his work in his debut.
The film for Palcho was outstanding.
Oh, we were watching it this morning.
Outstanding.
Like it was.
I would have never guessed it would have been outstanding. I thought, there'd be several plays and, they're helping him out. They did help him out, but
they helped him less as the game went on.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
Like they started off, they were chipping a little bit more early than
Troutman
late.
was over there.
Yeah.
Dulcich with some blocks.
Greg Dulcich, yeah. I would argue Greg Dulcich had a better game blocking than he did catching the ball last Sunday.
It's not a hard argument.
Which, that's rare.
Yeah. Hey,
It was
you
on.
wanna build on it.
It was on Bo's the scramble where he, quickly went to the right. I mean, that was great. That was great work by Greg Dulcich.
Yeah. DeAndre mentions moving the pocket, bootlegs, and rollouts. Interior pressure means you're going to have to move that. And good thing is, Bo's comfortable at that. He's comfortable at throwing on the run. At times, maybe a little bit too comfortable throwing on the run.
You don't want
the Troy Franklin route.
Yeah.
He was late on that because he could have set his feet and thrown that. And Troy, that might have been 6.
The feet are still not consistent with Bo Nix.
3 games in.
Yeah.
But
let's revisit it after half a season and see where he is.
Sure.
I mean, the tape was clean. The tape has gotten cleaner each week with Bo, bit by bit. It doesn't mean it's perfect, but he is going in the right direction. But there's going to be but one of the reasons why I kind of focus on 3-game trend lines, and now we're going to start seeing some 3-game trend lines, is you may have a game like this where there's a little bit of a regression in terms of his performance because of the competition that you're facing.
Stiff competition with the Jets. Quinn Miners talked about Bo Nix, and it's always good to talk to Quinn. Let's hear
The mighty
from
Quinn.
The mighty Quinn with the hair down. Had his hair down here in West Virginia.
He looks like somebody from that John Travolta movie, Battlefield Earth. Like, not a good movie, but he looks like, when he has the hair down, he looks like someone out of that movie.
Okay.
One of the worst sci-fi movies ever made.
Yeah, one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, not even just sci-fi.
Even Ishtar looks down its nose at Battlefield Earth. Here's Quinn Miners talking about his guy, Bo Nix.
I mean, I don't see it at all, to be honest. I think we all said it kind of from the beginning. He's an extremely confident player, and he plays with some swagger. And since the first day I met him, I've been excited to see how he was going to play and how he was going to handle these moments. And he's done nothing but consistently exceed expectations from my perspective. So I'm excited to keep playing with Bo.
Excited to keep playing with Bo. That's right.
Bought in. Everyone's bought into
These
Bo.
guys have been bought in for a while now.
And last Sunday, you saw the first real tangible results.
Payoff.
The more you see, the more that is going to build that symbiosis and that confidence of player and team in player. And I don't want to put too much on where the standings race stands right now, but I'm not hitting the panic button if they lose on Sunday.
You had them at 1-3 anyway.
Yes. And I had them getting back to 3-3 with a couple of wins there in October to start the month. And with the Chargers already looking to be banged up, the Raiders seemingly descending into chaos, I think even if you lose this game, you've got a real good chance to come back home for a couple of games, put a couple of dubs in your back pocket, and go down to New Orleans on Thursday Night Football at 500. And then you have everything in front of you.
Yes. Control your destiny.
And you should keep getting better because Bo Nix begins getting more confidence, adjusts to the countermeasures that defenses are making against him. Hopefully you get more consistency from the running game. Bit by bit, this thing starts to come together.
And as Bo Nix's feet get better, his eyes get better because he's still bird dogging. Once in a while, he's getting excited that he knows there's a completion coming, so he'll stare at his receiver. But your feet lead your eyes. So once his feet are better, his eyes will get better too. And he'll learn. Might take another pick or two, but he'll keep learning. I wanted to read this from DCI Drummer.
Okay.
I just want to say how much admiration I have for Mace's amazing game knowledge, and I'm so glad he's invested so much of his time to covering the Broncos. Broncos country is lucky to have you. Damn near, 25 years covering the NFL, right?
This is my 26th season in the NFL. It is my 21st doing the Broncos. That means a lot.
We like the good comments. We don't always get them, but we appreciate them.
I was thinking about this today while we were coming back up the hill, and I was having my pepperoni roll, which I'll put the video of that on social media. Had to have a West Virginia pepperoni
gas
roll.
Station pepperoni roll.
Gas station rolls were recommended to us by multiple people. So, but I was thinking just to myself about how this is, the covering the Broncos has taken me so many places. I never thought covering the Broncos would take me to West Virginia, but here we are. I mean, it's an adventure, and this is this is not just another week. Some weeks, some games, they kind of blend together after a while. This is not. It's been fun to be on the journey, and I appreciate those kind of words because there's a lot that's accumulated from this experience of covering the Denver Broncos. It's part of who I am. It's I said to somebody once, it's in my blood, and the response was, no, it's deeper than that. It's in your DNA. So
right. Bowler Quinn, yeah.
Okay.
Quinn scratched his bowling ball.
So they're staying at this fancy pants resort, the Greenbrier, and he said they didn't oil the bowling lanes there. And so he brought his own bowling ball.
And shoes.
And he noticed right away the ball went straight into the gutter, and then when it came back, it was all scuffed up because they didn't oil the lanes.
Yeah. Come on, man.
What's going on, Greenbrier? Do better.
I wonder if we should bring that up to Sean.
There are some things.
They don't oil the lanes here, Sean. This was your spot. You designed this, right?
The media tent's leaking. Or maybe it's not leaking, but my goodness, like it's rained a lot.
Standing water.
It's standing water, and there's a lot of electrical outlets and things like that.
Mall box was shorted out today.
This has not been the best of weeks in terms of the logistics, but that's okay.
We're here.
I mean, we're here doing a show. The logistics appear fine at the Fairfield Inn in Lewisburg, and here we are.
Mike says, I'm excited for Mo Bowman's this weekend.
If there's a disappointment.
Shared
Bowman's. If there's a disappointment so far, is that we haven't found a Bojangles, because it is bow time in Broncos country.
That's right. It is. All right. What do you think? That's about a wrap for today's show?
Feels good.
Okay.
Yeah. We got more coming. We got our big.
We do.
We have our big pregame show.
Pregame show on Saturday. Stay tuned for that.
Yes.
A Friday show, which should be clipped together. Maybe a OBT2 tonight. We'll see how we feel. We'll watch Thursday Night Football after we get done writing. And
we're going to voluntarily watch the New York Football Giants tonight. What's wrong with us?
That's our fun in West Virginia, watching the Giants and the Cowboys. It's not great there, especially running the football. future home of Javonte Williams?
His trade value is minimal at this point unless he goes on a tear.
Yeah.
Right now, like if you trade him today, I was asked about today on the practice field by one of the other reporters, and I said conditional 7th round pick.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
As low as it gets without basically having no value.
giving them away, which if you're going to give them away, I say don't.
Yeah.
Just figure it out when Estime comes back. And they will.
Carrying 5 running backs on the 53, though, I don't know if that's tenable.
It's not. It's not.
It's not good roster construction, Bob.
No, not at all. But it's good to help us out on YouTube. Andrew Mason, how can people help us out?
Like,
Comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell.
so that you
Never miss
a vid.
Just like windshield wipers.
Slapping out a tempo. Beating perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. I can't be the only Eddie Rabbit fan. You must join me.
I only know I love a rainy night.
Oh, dude. Oh, Suspicion. Like, there are so many. Eddie Rabbit's got like 10 hits.
I'm not a country music guy.
He's not. It's sad. You know,
Oh.
it's Eddie Rabbit. Is he really country? Not really.
I don't know, but I only know I love a rainy night.
We've
had a lot of rainy nights here this week.
We're gonna listen to "This Is Water" and we're gonna listen to all Eddie Rabbit's greatest hits.
I mean, I'm more John Denver than Eddie Rabbit.
I'll convert you.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. He's Mace. I'm Cease. OBT's a BFD. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned, and would you please, as always, stay frosty.